Can I request the brothers, wherever you see the students from our Sadiq school, just make sure there is one adult between the two children. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهدي الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله انتجبه لولايته واختصه برسالته وأكرمه بالنبوة أمينا على غيبه ورحمة للعالمين وصلى الله عليه وعلى آله الطاهرين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. أوصيكم عباد الله بتقوى الله. I mentioned last week that the month of Rajab is the beginning of the month of spirituality. It's also a month as well as the month of Sha'ban, which is filled with events related to the Ahlul Bayt. This week, I would like to talk about something in a way connected to the personality of Imam Hussein bin Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. This is in connection with the news that we heard this week that the United Kingdom as well as Canada has cancelled the visas of Dr. Zakir Naik of England. He was supposed to come for a lecture tour to UK and then even participate in this annual conference in Toronto. And the basis of barring him from coming here is basically his extremist views, especially where he openly supports people like bin Laden. And of course, I believe one of the main reasons why he was refused entry was his remarks about the Jewish people. From our perspective, of course, the Shias also have been in a way victimized by him. It was just about 2 years ago when he's known for his very powerful way of speaking. He's actually following the style of the late Dr. Ahmed Deedat of South Africa, who was very well known for his knowledge and command and memory of Bible. Means there was times when I've seen some of the videos of his debates with Christian scholars in London, where the opponent would be looking for the verse in Bible and he will be just standing at the podium, and then he will say, why don't you open this chapter, this verse number from your book? So he was very well known for this, and Dr. Naik basically has adopted that style. Unfortunately, unlike his guru, Dr. Ahmed Deedat, he is more on the Wahhabi side of issues. And this is the negative part of him, where we see that when this issue of, the tragedy of Karbala came up in the discussion, he made a remark that, basically condemning the stand of Imam Hussein bin Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. Against Yazid, because he termed that as a rebellion against a legitimate ruler. A ruler who had been accepted by the Ummah. And when we look at these kinds of remarks, actually it reflects a major division or difference in the Shia and the Sunni fiqh on the issue of justice. And I'm not saying all Sunnis agree with that, but the Wahhabis definitely are steadfast on this view, which is historically there in the Sunni fiqh when it comes to the matter of justice. Shia fiqh is known, and Shia theology is known for its emphasis on the issue of justice, all the way from the level of divinity to the human level. When we talk about the qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the important qualities that we emphasize is the issue of adl. We actually separate it. We talk about tawheed, unity of God first. Under that, we talk about many, many attributes of God. But then when it comes to adl and justice of God, we deal with it separately, just to give importance to it. When we look at the position of a Nabi or a Rasul or an Imam appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the main conditions from the Shia point of view is the issue of infallibility, ismat, which is even higher than the issue of justice and for the human beings. You look at the concept of a faqih or a mujtahid who can be followed in his rulings. Not just their expertise and knowledge is sufficient for that. That person must also be adil, upright in his character. When we even talk about a simple imam of Jama'at, that is also one of the criteria that we have. And even if you look at the Shia political perspective, a person can only be accepted as a ruler if he is able to maintain the concept of justice. Unfortunately, in this classical view of the Sunni fiqh, even if you look at the theological part of it about Nabi and Rasul, infallibility and ismat is not really a condition. Even if it's there, it's in a limited form. Only when Rasul is doing his official business, he is infallible. In his personal capacity, he is not. But who is going to decide when is Rasul in his official capacity and when is he acting as an individual? You need another ma'soom to make that decision. And the ummah, of course, they say collectively is ma'soom anyway. So the ummah gets prior position compared to Rasul himself. And when we look at the concept of a ruler, for example, even of Jamaat, Imam of Jamaat, in the Sunni fiqh, adalat, justice, uprightness and character is not a condition. It's very clear that the ruler or even the Imam of the Jamaat does not have to be a righteous person. They have a famous saying attributed to the Prophet where, it says, Salli khalfa kulli birrin aw fajir. Read the prayers behind any person, whether he's good or evil, sinful, doesn't matter at all. And so that is where you see the difference. And when people like, Zakir Naik make this comment about Imam Hussain alayhi salam supporting Yazid, this is a reflection of that mentality and that thought process which is there in their theology and fiqh. In Shia fiqh, we are very strongly told to shun and keep away from unjust rulers. There were companions of the Imams who would ask this question many times, can I work as a clerk? Not even making a decision, but just a clerk, in the administration of a just ruler. Imam says no, even those who just are the scribes, just secretaries, they also will be raised with the tyrant ruler on the day of Qiyamah. And so there is great emphasis on this issue when we talk about dealing with unjust rulers. Unfortunately, in the Sunni fiqh, we are told to tolerate unjust rulers and not to oppose them. Even if they are not righteous, even if they commit sins, we can advise them, but to rebel against them is considered to be a sin by itself. And this is where we see, look at the verses of Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Hud, ayat number 113, He is very clear about this issue. Where He says, وَلَا تَرْكَنُوا إِلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. Do not even do rukun. Do not even be inclined towards those who are unjust. Otherwise, what will happen? فَتَمَسَّكُكُمُ النَّارِ. The fire of Jahannam will hold you. So the issue is not that this is only a sin. Allah is saying the consequences would be the fire of Jahannam. وَمَا لَكُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ مِنْ أَوْلِيَاءَ ثُمَّ لَا تُنصَرُونَ. And when you are doing that, you will have no one from the side of Allah to help you. وَلَا تُنصَرُونَ. And you will not be helped on the Day of Judgment. And this is where we see, I was just reading a write-up from one of the scholars from the Sunni community in England on this issue of Imam Hussein and Yazid. And there he says, if you have a tyrant ruler ruling over you, this is consequences of your own sins, so you have to tolerate it. That's also the will of Allah. And this is azab, so you are not allowed to really oppose in any way. And this actually goes all the way back to the days of father of Yazid, Muawiyah. This is where, these ideas have infiltrated the theology and jurisprudence of the majority of Muslims, because they were known to be tyrant and unjust. And in order to appease the people so that they do not rebel, they had their own scholars paid by them who would go around and promote this concept of jabr. Whatever they are doing, it's Allah. They are just like the pen in the hands of Allah. They are not doing anything. God is doing it. So if they are being, they are oppressing you, it's not their fault. So you have to tolerate. And this is the mentality that we see, which reflects sometimes even among the, educated and learned people in the Muslim world, where they say, they don't have problem with the process of zulm, to the extent of even supporting people like bin Laden. Even the remarks this fellow made about the Shias being killed in Afghanistan and Iraq, he didn't really have any problem with this process, because in their mind, to side with Zalimeen is part of their process. To oppose them, even they are not righteous leaders, is part of their duty. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them wisdom, open their eyes and guide them to the right path. إن أحسن الحديث كتاب الله العزيز بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوبة وهو الغفور الرحيم سبحان من سبقت رحمته غضبه وبسط اليدين بالرحمة سبحان من لم يكلف نفسا إلا دون وسعها وعفى عن السيئات ولم يجاز بها سبحان من لا يزداد على معاصي العباد إلا كرما وجودا وعلى كثرة الذنوب إلا عفوا وصفحا ونشهد أن لا إله إلا هو العطوف للعباد بجوده والعواد على المذنبين بحلمه ونشهد أن محمدا نبيه وحبيبه سيد المرسلين والشفيع المذنبين بعثه رحمة للعالمين صلى الله عليه وآله الداعين إلى سبيل الله بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة قادة الأمم وأولياء النعمة ومعدن الرحمة أوصيكم عباد الله بالتوبة عما سلف من ذنوبكم. The concept of justice is so much close to the school of Ahlul Bayt and the Imams of Ahlul Bayt that we see Amirul Mu'mineen has emerged in history as the symbol of justice in Islam. You look at this Lebanese writer from the Christian background, when he wrote about Amir al-Mu'mineen, the title of his book is very interesting, where he says, Sawtul Adalat al-Insaniyya, that Ali is the voice of human justice. One of the ladies who was a prominent poet in her own right during the days of Ali, she was in the camp of Amir al-Mu'mineen in the Battle of Siffin, and she used her talent of composing poetry to encourage the soldiers of Amir al-Mu'mineen to go and fight against the Umayyad forces. Times change. Now Muawiyah's, reign came in, and she was deputed by her own tribe people to take a complaint to Muawiyah that the revenue officers of Muawiyah were being very oppressive to her tribe. And it shows that she was a very courageous lady, that the entire tribe thought she will be the right person to go and represent them to Muawiyah himself. So she goes all the way to Damascus, and then when she got the audience, Muawiyah was informed before she comes in that this is the same lady who used to say this and that. And the Umayyads had even memorized her lines of poetry against them. So as soon as she comes in, Muawiyah says, "You are the one who used to recite this?" And she said, "Yes, it was a time, Then she presented her case. And in presenting the complaint again, the way she was very courageous and bold, she made a remark at the end: "If you listen to my complaint, it's good, otherwise you will see." And Muawiyah didn't like this, remark at the end. "What do you mean by you will see? We will do something." And he became very harsh in his tone to her, and that's where she again started reciting 2 lines, where I do not remember exactly the words, where she says, "Salla ala ruhin tadammanuhu," where the wordings is that, "May God bless the soul, that when that person died, with him the grave actually covered the justice." And so Muawiyah says, "Well, whom are you referring to?" She says, "I'm remembering Ali. It's not only Ali who was buried, justice was buried with him. Because I went to him with a similar complaint, and he was doing his nafilah prayer. When he sensed that somebody is there, he shortened his prayer, and he listened to my complaint. And as soon as I finished my complaint, he raised his hands and he prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, 'Oh Allah, I have not asked my officers to behave in this way. And if they are doing this, they are doing it against my instructions.' And he took the details, wrote a letter recalling this officer for further investigation. And so this concept of adl is very close to the Shi'i theology, practice and thought. And this is where we have to keep in our minds all the time, that even in our behavior, at home, with our, at workplace, with our community members, and with the society in general, this should reflect that we are the true followers of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali bin Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. When I look at this remark by people like Zakir Naik, it's really surprising. He's a medical doctor, an educated person, supposed to be the scholar of comparative religions. This is how he promotes himself. But ask them, how do you reconcile, on one hand, this statement accepted by all Muslims, that when the Prophet talks about his grandsons, he says they are Sayyid al-Shabab Ahl al-Jannah. They are the chiefs of the youths of paradise. And then you have Yazid on the other side, who is responsible for the massacre of Karbala. And you are telling me on the day of Qiyamah, both will be in the same place? Hussein would be the Sayyid of Shabab Ahl al-Jannah, and Yazid will be one of the Shabab Ahl al-Jannah. Where is your intelligence? Where is your knowledge? Why don't you open your mind and think about this? And this is, not surprising, because the way, they have the patronage of the Wahhabis. So even the king of Saudi Arabia, he just have to obey him. We are looking at the interesting reports and the drama of the G20 in Toronto area. There was a very interesting report about one of the leaders coming in town in yesterday's Toronto Star, and that's about the Saudi king. That the stores near the hotel where he and his entourage of 200 people are going to stay, they're very pleased because their business will go up. Because they read, and this is in yesterday's report, that in the year 2008, G20 summit in Washington, the royal family's entourage made a side trip to Rochester, Minnesota for a medical checkup by the king at Mayo Clinic. And according to the report, his wives and daughters dropped a reported $1.5 million at malls, hotels, restaurants, and bars. They came in, they populated our bar most of the time. This quotation from the report. MashaAllah, they are Khadimul Haramain. And with this kind of patrons, I'm not surprised when Dr. Zakir Naik, sings the praise of Yazid bin Muawiyah. اللهم صل على سيد المرسلين والشفيع المذنبين نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وعلى إمام المسلمين وقائد الغر المهجلين أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله عليه وعلى سيد الشباب أهل الجنة الحسن المجتبى والحسين الشهيد بكربلاء عليهم الصلاة والسلام وعلى أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي عليهم الصلاة والسلام اللهم صل على مولانا الحجة بن الحسن صاحب العصر والزمان محيا آثار البدء والطغيان هادم أمنية الشرك والنفاق حاسد فروع البغي والشقاق صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آبائه الكرام ما اتصلت الليالي والأيام اللهم أجل فرجا وسهل مخرجا واكحل ناظرنا بنظرة منا إليه واجعلنا من المستشهدين بين يديه وتفضل اللهم على أمرائنا المؤمنين بمزيد التوفيقات وازدياد الإقبال وعلو درجات اللهم افعل بنا أنت أهله ولا تفعل بنا ما نحن أهله بجاه محمد وآله المعصومين صلوات الله عليهم أجمعين اللهم اجعلنا ممن يذكر فتنفعه الذكرى إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون